It's my honor to chair this session. My name is Ibrahim Fathy Mouawad. I'm Dean of Computer Science and Engineering, New Mansoura University, Egypt. Now allow me to Prof. Abou El-Magd, please. Prof. Farida Fassi, please. Prof. Ahmed Hassan. Prof. Andrea Leventino. Andrea. It's my pleasure to present our third keynote speech entitled Space Technology and Earth Observation Applications as Potential Collaboration to Achieve SDGs and Climate Actions in the Arab Region by Professor Abou El-Magd. He is the Vice President of Egyptian Space Agency, Egypt. He is also acting the Chancellor for the Ministry of Higher Education and Research Affairs for Space Technology and African Affairs, and he is also my friend. Please, Dr. Islam, the floor is yours. You have 20 minutes? Okay.
شغالك؟ Thank you, Mr. Chair, for this introduction, and I'm very glad to be here with you today for this keynote speech. And I'll try my best to adjust my time because we are running out of time, I think 25 minutes late. Once again, thank you very much, Dr. Youssef Roman, for inviting me to this keynote session and this conference. I'm very lucky to meet my friends who a long time ago we haven't met. Today I'll give you insights about space technology and Earth observation and how much this could meet our challenges in the Arab region and the continent of Africa. Quickly, I will give you a background about the status quo and cross-border challenges, space opportunities and applications in the region, our infrastructures that could be shared together to make something different in our region, and what is the potential areas of collaboration, and I'll conclude at the end. Hopefully this would be in 20 minutes. Actually, Arab states, about 22 countries with area about 13.1, which is larger than Europe plus China and New Zealand. If you collectively put this together, it would be about 12.9. Population is 445 million. And there is a lot of challenges that meet all these regions together: poverty, food security, water stress, environmental pollution, climate change, hazards and risks. A lot of it challenges that meet this region similar to what is facing the globe. And this is a major thematic user needs or focus areas that could be shared together for regional and regional applications and joint projects. If you go to space technology, how much the space technology readiness over the globe? Space started in the late 50s of last century, and since that time there is a lot of advancement in the space technology. And how much has the technology advanced to reach to ChipSat? For the time being, we moved from over 5 tons satellite to medium-sized 300 kg, 600 kgs. to nano satellite, to cube satellite, to ship satellite. This is an advancement of the technology, including the components, the hardware, the software, the processing. All this technology being it changed the globe, and how much this influenced the humanity in day-to-day using. This opens the floor for industry, space industry, and this created a very competitiveness over the globe about how the space industry could contribute significantly to GDP. If you see the UK, for example, agenda for 2030, they put nearly 28% of their GDP from space technology. So the space budget as well, you would see that there is investment, and a huge amount of money should be invested to make sure that you will get back the reward from the space technology and space industry. The United States is the top. NASA, for example, has put billions of dollars for the space budget. China, European Space Agency. If you see down, there is a little countries like Israel, India. The Arab region started recently to pledge money for the space industry. If you look UAE, for example, Algeria, Morocco, Egypt, they put about significant amount of money to invest in space technology. This is, if you don't invest in space right today, you would not be able in the next 10, 20 years to be in the space race and put your position in the space arena over the globe and get space industry in your country. The Arab states, we have a lot of, in the last 10, 20 years, space agencies being established at a national level. Egyptian Space Agency launched 2019, United Arab Emirates, at the same time nearly, Algeria is a bit before, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Royal Center for Remote Sensing, and another Royal Center for Space Technology in Morocco. So there's a lot of, movement and a lot of understanding from the policy and the decision makers that space is important, and we have to go through this road similar to the developed countries to catch our position. If you look to the SDGs on national level, for example, Egypt or the global SDGs, you'll see that all the SDGs and targets is cross-cutting with information coming from space data. So it significantly contribute to the, either direct or indirect, to the space data and remote sensing data. If you look to the column on the right-hand side, the picture is showing how this matrix is how much space data is contributing to each of the 17 SDGs, and underneath the 17 SDGs as a target. 269 targets is under these 17 SDGs, meet directly or indirectly with the space data. Our planet is complex, and there is a lot of complexity of the ecosystems there, which needs a climate is intersecting with these ecosystems that needs real-time data and flow of information that allow you to target. How much the space could do in this issue is make monitoring or mitigation or adaptation support in climate change or in other thematic focus area on a monitoring, and then provide a decision to resolve this problem. For example, some applications that show monitoring the air quality in the region. Satellite data could provide you hourly or data about the air quality. Air quality could be linked with the health and how much is put pressure on health, like the chest and the corona. Would see later on some slides how much this affect. This allowed you to look to the daily AUD column of the atmosphere, how much the data could provide you with the atmosphere of the dust storms and the pathways of these dust storms over the delta or in the South Egypt to go into Saudi Arabia and go back to the Mediterranean Sea to the Southern Europe. And then even the classification of this AOD from space, which is biomass burning or mixed aerosols or dust, this will be able to categorize this one to see how the adaptation and mitigation could come. This is, for example, simulation of the dust storms movement, and you look to vertical and horizontal AOD that show you how much is moved into the atmosphere. You could simulate using computer softwares and models in the 3Ds how this data could be moving on a vertical and horizontal. Indeed, this create like a BM 2.5 micrometer or 10 micrometer that significantly affect the human health for chest and cardiology diseases and this on. This put pressure on the health system, and particularly for young ages or elderly people. Other challenges, the cross-border oil pollution and how much this oil could cross-border from country to country in the marine environment, and how much is the oil production or the shipping create a problem on this oil pollution. Satellite data allows you to also to monitor this on a daily or hourly data. And you can conclude that how much oil incidents coming in the Red Sea or the Mediterranean Sea, and the source of this oil pollution, you would also be able to know if this is oil platform exploration or production or a ship. If you integrate this with AI's data, the data for shipping, you would know exactly what this pattern of oil pollution coming from which ship, at what time, and the movement from to where it was moving. And this exactly could be applied in Morocco, for example, 127 oil cases pollution Atlantic Ocean, the coast of Morocco, in just about 22 months, 2 years. This could also help and to make, this is a movie, I don't know if I press somewhere here it would work or not. If you click by the mouse on the yellow, the blue side, it will move. This is a pattern of simulation, how if oil incident happen, how it moves, how it moves on time, because this is a problematic with the ecosystem of the marine. So again, this satellite data support and help from space to come up with a solution to this problem. Sandy dune movement in the Arab region, most of Sahara, and how much this sandy dune could create hazards on roads, and particularly for agriculture. These roads, if you are driving here for the first time and your car wheels go underneath over this sand, it will turn over and make a very huge problem for travelers. Actually, satellite data allowed you to 2 millimeters to recognize the movement of this sandy dune and enable you to understand exactly where is the corridor. This allows us for in Sinai Peninsula to see the corridor where you can make alternative road to avoid the sandy dune movement, because you know the source, you can manage the source of the sandy dune movement to make something to block this sand migration, or to take this small arrow, because every arrow of this one give you the length is the magnitude and the pointer to the direction. So if you go this direction, this is the length of the arrow is the magnitude, how much meter moving per hour, and the arrow, the head, goes to the direction. So it allows us to look to the corridor. If you wanted to make a road or alternative road, you can make a corridor that allows you to prevent any problem for the sandy dune. ice sheet melt and sand and sea level rise, and how much this would allow space technology now create an altimeter. You can measure the altimeter up to millimeters, how much is the leveling of the sea level rise. This would significantly impact on the cultural heritage, for example, in the region, and how much this cultural heritage, Alexandria, for example, Calacaid Bay, Citadel, will be impacted in different scenarios of the SSP5 according to the IPCC scenarios of the changes. Inland cultural heritage, high and low temperature, increase and decrease of temperature make some problematic of the inland cultural heritage. This is the sites, and these are differences between the high and low, or the increase and decrease of temperature. Flash floods, and this also create a problematic, and this could be monitored by this satellite. This is for South Sudan in last year, and this Alexandria for, this is a mayor, by example, by the way, this is a mayor of one of the counties in South Sudan. Satellite data provide you data with hourly data about rainfall. So simulation of data, hourly rainfall or cumulative 10 days or 30 days, 1 month, allowed you to make scenarios about two things: to prevent the hazard of flash floods, and to make harvesting of water, because we are stressed in some region, are underwater stress. It creates droughts. Also, you can monitor droughts by satellite data and see how much data is under stress. For incidents like Ever Given ship, which is tagged in Suez Canal, this was an hourly monitor of the ships stuck in the region. So you have, this is a dock area in Mediterranean Sea, increased by 116-20 March. This is the Suez, mouth of the Suez, Gulf of Suez, and how much is this data increased, how much is the ships, 137. So this is a report every 4 hours or 6 hours. You would provide a report about how much the ships, according to the maritime routes for this. So space data allows you to go to the risk and monitor this risk and give you solutions when you have some problematic. Arab states infrastructure knowledge, I think we do need strategic support, education, training, and research and development and industry. We look for the next 10 years to have space industries that contribute to our GDP. There is a lot of satellites in the Arab region. Egypt, SEAL satellite, Algeria, SAT, Morocco, United Arab Emirates, Sudan, Qatar start to launch satellites. I believe the availability of the infrastructure like labs, engineering models, or experimental satellites, or satellite communication just allow to share this infrastructure with the Arab region for future cooperation. I'll give you some example of joint space projects to develop 6U satellites, TRL-9, according to the international standards, that will carry camera scientific payloads to measure plasma in the atmosphere. This would allow to measure the climate change, and it's a nano satellite, a small satellite, about 20 kilograms, and it has one camera and one probe, that this probe, Langmuir probe, that measure the plasma in the atmosphere. So all this technology is developed, designed, and manufactured here in Egypt. If we share this technology with others in the Arab states, we would be able to leverage the capacity of space technology and industry in the region. This is a BCB, and this is the PCB onboard computer that would allow and communicate between the 6U satellites and the ground segments. Other satellite AFDEV is 6U as well, with the 5 African countries, to extend our partnership and collaboration with Arab region. Again, this is a camera. The camera is being manufactured in Egypt to measure the climate change in the eastern part of Africa. This is a specification of the satellites. It's 12 kg. How much left?
Just 2 minutes.
2 minutes, okay. And this is the technical specs of the satellite, and it will be objected for a specific mission for the East Africa climate change. Again, this is a camera will be mounted on the ISS, International Space Station, in the space to measure and take regular pictures from space. Future trends and opportunities, this is what I propose here for the Arab states and region to coordinate together in space systems development, launch of satellites in LEO and MEO geo, industrial component together, and leverage operational services for the cross-border challenges like marine pollution, oil pollution, air pollution, whatever ecosystem. We make operational services, artificial intelligence, and deep machine learning for applications to ensure that, like we were talking this morning with Dr. Ahmed Hassan about how efficiently we could make artificial intelligence, deep learning, on-board processing to make the data coming from the satellite ready information, not for raw data. So software development, this is one of the big components that the space industry could be leveraged in the region. And we have a lot of engineers and computer science who would be able to develop on-board and MCC software. Finally, the potential area of cooperation, I'll make it into sectors. If I take space infrastructure, we do our objective. Egypt has AITC, Assembly Integration Test Center, that would integrate and test satellites up to 1,000 kilogram. And this facility is available and ready to coordinate and cooperate with. What the outputs will be assembly and integration. Who could share with us Arabian space agencies, public government or institutions, or private sector. Space applications, we would see objective of to develop data and information ready for solving solutions and being driven by Egypt Vision or the national SDGs. Science research, scientific research and development. This is the core that the universities and research center could help and support to leverage the innovation and space industry. Human capacity development by training. And I think Egypt has now technological universities and TVET strategies that would allow and promote the technological students who get into the future jobs. Resource mobilization, and I assume that Arab states should make a funding mobilizing mechanism on a regional scale to allow space and research and development in the region. Are we able to cooperate on the regional level? Yes, but we do need a goodwill, we do need competitiveness, we do need marketing, outreach, cooperation and partnership and thus. I'll end up with this quote. I like it very much. If you wanted to go fast, go alone. But if you wanted to go far, let us go together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor.
I'm sorry I was in rush.
No, thank you very much. Please,
thank you.
We will postpone the questions at the end of our session. And now it's time to our second talk entitled Establishing Synergies with ASREN on e-Biodiversity in support of the Arab ecosystem by Dr. Juan Aranda. He's the Chief Technology Officer, LifeWatch, Spain. He's a remotely talk, so please, Dr. Aranda, the floor is yours.
Data which are fundable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. That is the right side scheme. You can see that. You can see that we have in one axis all the sustainable development goals, and then you can see in horizontal all the ecosystem services from food provisioning to recreation and tourism, all of them passing to carbon storage, genetic resources, raw materials, etc. We have gone in deep inside of all this, and we have found that finally in the ASREN community, in the Arab countries, in Maghreb, Middle East, and Saudi Arabia, you are doing a huge effort congratulations in the different universities, in the different networks, and we would like to congratulate ASREN work in trying to create the so-called the key biodiversity areas as a systematic method to create the data management tools, how to gather, to guarantee the fairness of the data, or the tool of that, and then jointly together, remote sensing, basically artificial intelligence, as the previous presentation, and blockchain technologies, how to provide a smart decision to decision makers and to managers in that areas. We are doing the same experiment, the same process, let's say, from the European Union, from LifeWatch, the e-Science European Research Infrastructure for Biodiversity and Ecosystem Research and Sustainable Management, not only of protected area. We are talking also, for instance, from Malaga, of urban biodiversity in cities. It's very interesting to look to find points of synergies, of connection, of collaboration, of creating a digital knowledge hub with global aspirations within the context of open e-science paradigm. We are talking about agriculture, irrigation, preservation of fresh water and groundwater areas, fisheries, because we are sharing the challenges derived from the climate change scenario. Here we are. We have been working actively with our colleagues, our sisters and brothers from the universities for Northern Africa, Mediterranean areas, of the situation of threatened species in the Mediterranean, of the mitigation strategies, the KBS, the key biodiversity areas, the protected areas, the support of the inclusions of those key biodiversity areas, on agriculture and aquaculture, biological resource use, climate change and severe weather, energy production and mining, geological events, human intrusion and disturbance, invasive and other problematic species derived from the climate change and how they're moving from one latitude to another, natural system modifications, pollution, residential and commercial development, transportation and service corridor, dealing with the derived from the challenge of the heterogeneity or the resources of data we're dealing with, but also the scale, microdiversity, mesodiversity, microbiodiversity, mesobiodiversity, and macro, remote sensing biodiversity. And as well in the Arabian Peninsula area, everything related to the systematic conservation planning to identify the most important areas and the main benefits in systematic conservation planning according to the International Union for Conservation Nature on that, in order to achieve all the objectives for sustainable development goals 2030 and guaranteeing the welfare of the people. It's about preserving nature, obviously, but according to the people needs. That's clear. And LifeWatch sharing as a structural tools for the European research area, which also supports political decision making, is trying to do its best by providing the state-of-the-art of ICT, in particular artificial intelligence and deep learning, and also blockchain, by providing multi-scale modeling of species, threats and prediction, modeling of biological particulars, artificial intelligence and deep learning, and also blockchain.
Dr. Juan, do you hear me?
By providing multi-scale modeling of species, threats and prediction, modeling of species, particular artificial intelligence and deep learning, modeling also blockchain.
Dr. Juan,
by providing the European Union, as you know well, has two main chapters: the sustainable blue economy, the Green Deal, where biodiversity is the key topic, jointly with the digitalization, digital transformation process of the industry, where the research infrastructure are in the center of the quadruple helix of innovation. We are talking about innovation. We are talking that biodiversity must be a key added value on innovation of our people in our socioeconomic systems. Cannot be put aside of innovation and ICT innovation. Wow, this is the recently published scheme diagram by Gardner Consultancy. Can you see there that biodiversity isn't the key? There, not less biodiversity, drone-based biodiversity monitoring, geospatial biodiversity mapping. Biodiversity is considered as a key thematic topic, imagine as a cross-cutting, but also specific for the next years in ICT development, specific developments. And from the conceptual point of view, this is related to citizens, government, entrepreneurs, researchers, dealing with all the key topics. And this is the gene of our ICT, the blockchain system. The blockchain system that beyond the traceability and provenance of resources is also assigning socioeconomic value to ecosystem service, tokenization, the value of preserving nature. Because if you don't provide monetization, socioeconomic value to the preservation of the nature, it will not work. And having said that, all of this is very nice, but it's useless if there is not intelligence behind. Facing the scale challenge on micro, meso, macro scale and heterogeneity of data resources. And we are having arrived to this point, I would like to pass the floor to our dearest colleague, Professor Rohaifa Khaldi. Rohaifa, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I think that better than me. And distinguished guest, sorry for the problems, technical problems. I'm passing the floor to her. Thank you so much. Please, Rohaifa, go ahead. What to do?
Okay, so as we know, AI technologies have demonstrated promising capabilities in solving real-world challenges and problems coming from different areas. And it is also one of the best tools that are used to better manage the impact of climate change and to protect our environment. So here we can see the different environmental components where AI technologies have been applied, ranging from water, air, food management to forest, ocean management, and urban waste management, etc. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So in this slide, we are displaying some of the main applications of AI in the environmental field. For example, in water management, AI technologies have shown a great potential in identifying underground leakage in water supply system using thermal imageries or using signal acoustic data. Not only this, but they are also used to predict the maintenance time of these water supply systems. Also, the quality of water can be monitored using computer vision-based models to detect the numbers and the types of diatoms in microscopic images. And this is one of the projects we are working on with the LifeWatch. Further, different studies have also explored the potential of machine learning to predict the drafts using time series of climatology and land data. In addition, AI are also used to manage deforestation and fires. For instance, using solar-powered smartphones, we can record acoustic signals in real time in order to detect illegal logging, or using gas emission data combined with other atmospheric data captured by solar-powered sensors to early detect the location of wildfires. Another field of applications of AI is regarding the smart farming, where AI-augmented agriculture via robotics can be applied. And here, farmers no longer need to check the whole land, but using AI and IoT, we can review the entire land in one dashboard. And the dashboard can allow to early detect the crop disease, streamline the usage of water, fertilizers, and pesticides, control the behavior and the health of livestock. It can also be used to train the staff without the need of handling machinery costs, and also to display their performance in real time. Eventually, there are other applications related to biodiversity management, where AI tools are used to detect, count, and track different species in order to understand their behavior and to manage their conservation. And this is done using computer vision, signal recognition models, using images or acoustic records. Next slide, please. Smart Eco Mountains is one of the main projects within LifeWatch, Eric. In fact, it contains several interesting sub-projects, and one of them is high mountain shrubs monitoring. Several studies have demonstrated that climate change is altering the structure and the functioning of all ecosystems. In response to climate change, some plant species tend to move towards high altitudes or latitudes, making new colonization patterns to find their most favorable climatic conditions. But not all species can migrate with respect to climate change. Some of them have high persistence strategy to adapt to these extreme climatic conditions. And that's why it's a project we are mainly focused on the study of two types of juniper shrubs, which are Communis and Sabina. And from the ecological aspects, the identification, the counting, and the study of the distribution of these plants is of paramount importance in analyzing the impact of climate change. In this task, can only be done using very high resolution satellite imagery. However, accurate mapping of these individuals, such type, for example, they are very hard to detect from satellite imageries because of different reasons. The different textures that they have, different sizes, and different geometries, etc. Next slide, please. In this study, we performed the detection of this type of plants in the Sierra Nevada National Park of Spain. And within this project, we created an automatic system that can identify the shrubs in their distribution. In fact, this system is a meta model that consists of two main models. One, a classification model that can recognize with high probability, or can give us what are the images that have high probability to contain shrubs. And then these true positive images are fed to another instance segmentation model that can detect the exact location of the shrub and draw a contour following the perimeter of the shape of the plant. So at the end, as you can see at the bottom, we produced a map of all the detected shrubs in Sierra Nevada. So this created model can be used to detect plants in another region in the world. So we are collaborating with the research team in Italy to deploy our model in the Apennines Mountains, and can also be used, this model, to detect other types of plants. Instead of creating a new model initialized by random parameter, we can use the parameter of our model as initialization basis of a new model, which is called domain adaptation, where we transfer the knowledge from one domain to another domain. Next, please. So AI-based technologies are playing a very important role in our life. In the future, they may create a transparent digital geospatial dashboard for the planet. And this dashboard will help us to process big amount of data in real time, allowing us to understand, to model, monitor, foresee, and manage our entire ecosystem. Thank you.
So,
okay.
Can we say that?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Juan, and for your colleague for your nice talk. Thank you very much.
No, there is no. We haven't finished yet.
Pardon
we
me?
We have only some final comments. Okay.
Actually, we have enough time. By the way, you took double of your time. Thank you, because I have other 4 speakers. Thank you again. And okay, thank you. And now it's time for third talk entitled Gathering Nations Through Global Science Research by Professor Farida Fassi. She is a professor and senior researcher at Mohammed V University in Rabat, Faculty of Science, Morocco. Professor Farida, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Something, right? Okay. Good morning. Thank you for this great invitation. I'm glad to be here and to share with you this, the talk that I would like to the title is really moving gather nation around the scientific research. First, allow me to bring you back in the history and talking you about the golden era. The golden era where the Arab Muslim world embraced science as a state-defined policy, sharing in a golden era of the Arab civilization. As you know, at that era, an heavy movement of translation and studying of ancient books, including advancing new knowledge, and which ensued in unprecedented scale. So the achievement of the Arab scholar are in different fields, including mathematics, physics, astronomy, medicine, philosophy, sociology, so everything. So it's worth to mention that in that era, that period, the golden era, the Arab leaders encourage learning and the use of reason to investigate the nature. Now I will, as you know very much, that the scientific revolution in Europe laid the foundation for today's science. So this revolution was built on the foundation of the Arab Muslim science and Greek, where the Arab scholar studied Greek writing and advanced new technology. And then the Arab version was translated into Latin, and this book spread over Europe. So the process of preserve this ancient knowledge are spread interest in science to Europe. So it's really at the early stage of the revolution in Europe, the Arab Muslim science playing a central role. So, and then the revolution was the emergence of the modern science, where the development in mathematics, physics, astronomy has transformed the societal view about nature. Well, what is about the legacy, what we could talk from the Arab Golden Era. So I strongly believe that the real pride of this legacy is the lesson in seeking for knowledge with ambition and aspiration. So for this reason, a serious engagement in producing a long-term strategy for reforming and transforming the scientific research and higher education in the Arab world and Arab region is needed. This is critical if the Arab community has to take its place as a co-leader in the global scientific process and reap the consequent socio-economic benefits. For instance, the adaptation, as in the olden era, of science-based states, the encouragement of the free science enduring, also promoting effort to popularize science among people. There is no doubt that physics has laid the foundation for enormous transformation technology over the last 2 years. So sociology, more than ever, will increasingly depend on physics to solve its problem. Well, the science for global society. As you know, science is one of the most channels for knowledge. The role of science is innovate, discover, publish, and share within a trustable community to compete and collaborate, so that to ensure a sustainable development and achieve a global well-being of the present and future generation, cooperative revival can only developed in a fostering way through innovation and creative productivity among people from different cultures and nations. So the global community need to act together with unity and renew multilateralism to create and enable global environments free of structure. About the collaboration. So in the realm of science, the global collaboration in the context of international scientific research providing successful modes from peaceful cooperation. So let's take a look. In a global scale, people could working together coherently toward a common goal by sharing knowledge, learning, and building consensus. These research projects show that the human being is able to achieve that unity. Therefore, there is a need for an inclusive cooperation, which is needed more than ever, including developing, emerging, and developed countries. Because we need to explore all potential synergy, we need also to come together, bring in the best brain from all regions in the world for the benefit of our sustainable society. Let's take, for instance, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, CERN, which presents us a nice place of such global cooperation. Well, here I will talk to you about the mission, the vision, and the values of CERN. From the research point of view, what we try to do at CERN is pushing back the limits of knowledge and expand our understanding of natural and societal phenomena, also seeking for funding answers to questions about the universe. From the technological point of view, we advance frontier of technology. Also, we bring nations together through science, and also we train the scientific of tomorrow. So it is clear that the CERN vision is really creating an environment to allow people, allow nations to collaborate through science, which is remain a cornerstone of peaceful cooperation at front of science, independently of culture and national differences. Actually, this is the convention of the CERN, which is established in 1954, clearly laid down to the main mission of the organization, which is a European intergovernmental organization, globally used an infrastructure belonging to all its member states. It is certainly an example of adding values through partnerships and working together. Well, what we do at CERN, we do fundamental research. We do science, fundamental basic science. It is what we call particle physics. We try to understand how the universe works at its fundamental level. This includes discover the elementary constituent of matter and energy, also prove the interaction between them, and also explore the basic nature of space and time. How we do that? We do that by building the projects that enable us to do discover, also operating the huge facility that provide this capability for discovery. And this is with a huge support through research program that produce discover science. Also, so here again, in the doing science at CERN, once we build the accelerators, the huge accelerators, which demand years of building, we need to collect the data for several years to be able to study the particle that we are looking for. For that reason, theoretical and computational aspects are needed to provide the mathematical, phenomenological, and computational framework to understand the extent of our knowledge of particle forces and the nature of space and the time. From the theoretical research, this is essential to doing the interpretation and understanding of the experimental research activity. Also, we need advanced computing, which provide us tools which are necessary for designing, operating, and interpreting experimental and simulation. Well, here I present you the Large Hadron Collider, which is, we are in new era with this huge accelerator, which is the largest and the most powerful accelerator ever built. It is it is located between Swiss and France. The range is 27 kilometers circumference. There are 4 detectors. This is the Atlas, and this is the SEMES, sharing the same scientific program. And this is e-AGE22, and this is Alice. Well, here just to give you how it's global doing research at science. Pick up just the Atlas collaboration. As you can see in the yellow color, present all the country contributing within the Atlas collaboration, which is 42 countries, and Morocco form part from this collaboration. Well, doing physics, particle physics, is also presenting huge challenges from data point of view, because we collect enormous data, because the physics what we are looking for require huge amount of data. Just to give you an idea, here, this is the accelerator. We accelerate in different tunnel the bunches of proton. At this point, we install, for instance, Atlas, and those are the outcome from this collision. So e-AGE22 produce tens of trillion of proton every day. This is a huge amount of data. And this is happened at the 4 point where we install the 4 detector. And this is the same for SEMES. So the key point that I'm trying to transfer, that the raw data that we collect from e-AGE22 is about 1 petabyte per second. This is present a huge challenge from the, for instance, storage and processing the data. To cope with these challenges, I mean, what we call a computing grid infrastructure has been developed. It is what we call WLCG. Just I will briefly describe WLCG, sorry. WLCG is again a global distributed computing. Here you can see all the sites all over the globes that link to this infrastructure. And this is affirmed at SAR. And this is how the model is structured. It is really fantastic how we can produce huge achievement working together. So WLCG are global, as I said before, a global distributed computing based on the grid technology. So it provides seamless access to computing power and data storage. So we can run everywhere, we can store everywhere, and we can work in a global way. So here, as I said before, the structure, and the main goal is to make use of the resource available and integrated into a single infrastructure accessible by all the community, no matter where they are. This is fantastic, really. Well, I come up to the Arab Golden era. I strongly believe that in order to revitalize the Arabic scientific era, the contribution to science and knowledge need to be readdressed, particularly resilient and increasingly global nature of big science challenges and the need for international cooperation and research. The challenge is great to cope with the scientific and technology gap in the Arab community.
Farida, please, me, the chair. Me, the chair.
Chair.
Just only.
This is the last. This is the last. Okay. Please, don't cut me in my. This is what I want to say. All the talk. Okay. The challenge is great, as I said before, and my call is to the Arab scientific community. We need we need to come together to show how imperative it is to develop science in Arab world effectively to confront the major challenges. For this reason, we need to engage the Arab policymaker in the direction that impact Arab world development, invest more serious effort to help and create the condition for which science can prosper, encourage research and collaboration among research in Arab region and the world, foster cooperation between people to achieve the broader range of scientific research, build scientific and cultural bridges between different societies in the Arab world and beyond, and the role, of course, of the science in building nation and development to support socio-economical must be enabled. The hope is not a dream, but a way of making dream become reality and bring the world together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now it's time, our fourth talk entitled A Success Story for REN Role to Provide High-Performance Computing to Scientific Researchers by Professor Ahmed Hassan. He is the Dean of Computer Science at Nile University, Egypt. The floor to you.
Hi everyone. I would like to be...
Please, only 10 minutes.
Okay, I finished. Okay, good morning everyone. I hope you can enjoy this presentation. This presentation is not talking about institutional research. On the other side, it talks about an individual research endeavor. At that time, I was the EUN, the Egyptian Universities Network Director. On the other side, I'm a professor in Ain Shams University at that time, and I was working in this problem. The problem is described to the right. You know, every living body have some deformations with time. Okay, we gain weight, we lose weight. Living organisms have the same phenomena. Even signature and writing of numbers have the same phenomena. You have the same object, but at some time it's deformed. And for having good surgeries, for having matching one signature to another, you need to make what is called elastic shape registration. This elastic shape registration is usually solved by very difficult equations, and these equations require a lot of computation to be solved. If you want it to be more accurate, you increase the number of grid points, and at the same time, it takes more time to be solved. So the main point here is that solving this will take a lot of time that make it impossible to be run in real time. You cannot do it in real time. If you are talking about space, like space applications like the ones described by Dr. Islam, you need this to be done in a very real time situation. If you are talking about military applications and you want to hit a plane, for example, and the plane is changing its shape, you need this to be done in very real-time behavior. This is the algorithm of solving this problem. This is a part of the algorithm, and this is the remaining part of the algorithm. It's very clear that this algorithm is very complex, and it takes a lot of time. So the main point is when we use graphics processing units that are existing on laptops, on computers, and so on, we usually get a gain of 2 to 3. So instead of using one computer with one sequential processor, we are moving to parallel computing. But the main point is the computers that are commercially on the shelf, they are not good enough to make this speed up. It can speed up twice, 3 times, or so. But the point is we used the network that is done by e-AGE conference to connect the Egyptian universities network with Sesame in Jordan. They have there a K20 machine, and this K20 graphics processing unit machine has been utilized by the Egyptian universities network and the researchers from Ain Shams University, and we achieved 150x speed up. So assume a problem that takes 150 minutes that will be solved in only 1 minute. This makes a lot of change. This allows us to go to another problem. The second problem is to know the difference between the shape and the shape when it's rotated, translated, or moved from, or magnified. So this is another problem that is called shape-based segmentation problem, and it's a global optimization problem that takes a lot of time as well. And we used also a GPU and CPU parallel version in order to accelerate the solution of this problem. This is the design of the solution, but the main idea here that you can find the difference between what is found in our machines, which is to the left, has only 96 cores, and we got a speed up of 2.8 actually, okay, and the execution time is 14,000 seconds. 15,000 seconds. On the other side, it's solved in the K20 machines on Sesame in 1,000 seconds. So we have a lot of acceleration in 2 problems, this was done in 2016. So I was very curious yesterday to know when Dr. Atif presented Sesame if this K20 machine is still there and if it's upgraded. The point is we relied on this machine 5 years ago, and it made significant solutions. However, there are new technology trends. The cloud is there. There is Mac Cloud. We used it 3 years ago. There is Amazon Web Service, Google Colab, Cloud GPUs. A lot of things are available right now. We investigated also Bibliotheca Alexandrina and the Electronic Research Institute machines. However, the lesson is we still need networking, we still need to share resources, we still need to utilize the resources we have instead of complaining about how many resources we don't have. I would like at the end to acknowledge not only e-AGE and ASREN who made this contribution possible, but I would like to thank my co-author, Professor Hussam Hassan in Ain Shams University, and Sesame team, Salman and Mustafa, and EUN team, Hussein Lutfi. So this is just a small success story that I wanted to share. Thank you for listening, and I think you have 2.5 minutes.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Now it's time to our fifth talk, entitled Sparking Multi-Cloud for the Research and Education Community by Engineer Andrea Miguel. He is an enterprise and ICT sales engineer, Telecom Italia, Sparkle Italy. The floor is yours. Just only 10 minutes, please.
Thank you. Thank you. So good morning to everybody, and thank you for the time that I have today to speak with you, to present my company and also what we are doing for the research field in Europe and maybe in the future also in this area. First of all, some words regarding Sparkle. Sparkle is the international branch of the Telecom Italia group, so the telecommunication provider of the state of Italy. We are the international branch, with a number of offices around the world to manage our network and our facilities, because we have 600,000 of kilometers of fiber in submarine cables and terrestrial cables that are our network, our asset, and we are providing, thanks to such infrastructure, a number of services for our customers, based principally on the connectivity. Then we are providing IP transit capacity, mobile solutions and voice solutions, but we are also adding to our portfolio cloud services. Regarding the cloud services, we can provide to our customer a number of solutions, starting from the data center facilities, so the possibility to host servers of our customers, also for private cloud for the customer, but we are also providing a solution based on the cloud provider, the main cloud providers, so Amazon with the Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and also Google Cloud. Our approach is a multi-cloud approach, and we are also suggesting to our customer the same type of approach, because we are convinced that all the providers can provide something that is relevant for the activity in the cloud, with the peculiarities specific of each type of provider. So our approach is a multi-cloud approach. We offer not only the possibility to access the cloud, but also the connectivity to access the cloud. Then it's possible with Sparkle also to reach the cloud provider data centers. Our customer can also leverage on a cloud automation platform to manage all the infrastructure and all the administrative activities related to the access to the cloud. Also with monitoring tools for the cost control, because the cost control is one of the main and most important things to manage in the cloud, because typically the cloud is sold in a pay-per-use model. In terms of support, we have our own competence center, but because we are not present everywhere, we also leverage on a network of partners that can provide consultancy on site. We are here to also share the experience that we did with Géant since 2016, when was issued the first cloud tender from Géant. We participated to such tender, and we started to providing cloud solution to the research and education community in Europe. At the beginning, providing AWS, and now in 27 countries in Europe, with the new tender on 2020, providing also Google Cloud. Then Géant, thanks to the tender, made available for the research field a framework to access such solutions, but also the possibility for the research and education institutions to access European funds, thanks to a specific mini-tender for all the providers within the framework. This year we participated to one of such mini-tenders, and we obtained the funds for researchers in 4 countries for 7 projects. The global amount of money were 6.5 million. We obtained 7 projects with a total of 2 million, collaborating with the researchers, presenting projects to obtain such funds. So our goal in that case was to collaborate with the researchers to present projects to describe why the cloud could help the work of the researchers to obtain the funds. Now we are participating to another tender like that with a different scope. In this case, we are collaborating with entities named aggregators, so entities that are no-profit entities and with the goal to collect funds coming from institutions like the European Union and to spread such funds to the researchers. So the scope is slightly different, but the collaboration with the Sparkle is the same. So we facilitate the job of such entities that are in the research field, of course, to obtain the funds and to describe their projects to justify the obtaining of such funds. My presentation terminates with some use cases related to the project that we presented in the last tender, so what was recognized to us and to the researchers for such projects. A very quick description of what we did, for example, with the Princess Maxima Center, which is one of the most important institutions in the childhood cancer analysis and managing in the Netherlands, where they where they presented, described the needs of the cloud components to increase the capability of the analysis of the data took in this type of the field, in this field. We had also two different projects with the University of Padua. We presented together with the university two projects related to the machine learning. The first one to use the computational power to increase the capability of a machine learning model, and the second one to increase the precision of the medicine and healthcare implementation using the machine learning technologies. Another project was with the University of Bourgogne in France. In this case, implementing the paradigm of the metaverse using computational power to train healthcare people. So to provide a system to train healthcare people in the metaverse. Then two projects in Belgium. The first one to increase the capability of the engine to provide information to the researchers that are looking for specific information collected from the Q11. So using the machine learning capability of Google to increase the power of the search engine for a specific research result of the community. And the second one with the University of Antwerp, where the university needed to increase the computational capability because they had their own infrastructure based on servers that they had in their premises, but they needed also to have more power, and so the cloud was important to escalate the capability that they had to scale for a more power for them.
Andrew,
Sorry?
1 minute, please.
Yes, but I ended. Thank you very much. Thank you again.
Yes. Now it's a final talk entitled "The Role for the REMS in Earth Observation" by Dr. Mark Erber, Director for International Cooperation and Academic Relations and the Communication, Red Clara, Uruguay. It's a remote session. Okay, the floor is yours.
Yes, hello. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we have you.
Okay, good. I will just share my presentation.
Okay.
I hope you can also see my presentation now, my slides.
Yeah,
yes.
Okay.
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 And well, I can understand that most people at this time must be desperately longing for a coffee. So the good news is that I can be brief because I think all my brilliant predecessors have really showed that the importance of data sharing and processing and storage, especially in matters of Earth observation, among other thematics, of course, and really the digital tools, the need of digital tools and infrastructure that are tailor-made for research and evaluation. So I will, and I just wanted to join the call by Professor Farida, Fassi, especially for more engagement on those infrastructure precisely, because I think it's important maybe just to make a brief, at this stage, a brief short situational explanation of where research and education networks are. Where do we come from, really, the research and education networks? Basically, you must all know probably these two guys that have invented really both the internet and the TCP/IP. I mean, all the infrastructure that really gives science and research, including Earth observation, a potent tool really to share and process data and reach eventually the decision makers, and basically, and most of it came, by the way, from the CERN project. Just to situate the research and education networks, I think it's good to see the global effort made. This is a bit a glimpse on where on what we do and we basically interconnect the whole academic community around the globe. This is just to show a picture, to illustrate the link. This is the inauguration in June of last year of the cable, the first cable between South America and Europe, the first direct cable for internet. Really worth mentioning. This was the Minister from Brazil of Science and Technology and astronaut Marcos Ponte, together with the Prime Minister of Portugal, Antonio Costa, in Sines in Portugal, inaugurating this cable. You can see this cable here for the infrastructure, in particular of Red Clara, promoted by Red Clara, the Bella project. I can also show partly the network from Géant and around the world of all the networks. I think what is important here is to talk about the importance of integration, at national, regional, and transnational levels of all these networks, in order to be more multidisciplinary, to be more open access, to insist on open access data, of course, and infrastructure. In the importance of infrastructure networks and digital technology, and also the human networks, getting together researchers, academics, teachers, etc. So what we are really talking about is to leverage the exponential development of data, information, knowledge, dissemination of knowledge, education, etc. Diagnostics also, solutions, finding solutions, decisions, of course, and all these kinds that depend on data and on knowledge. I just wanted, in particular, in relation to Earth observation, I wanted to mention something very dear to our dear Youssef, which is the Katowice Declaration. We're talking here about an agreement between regional research and education networks, among others. Of course, ASREN is part of the Katowice Declaration, together with Géant, with Red Clara, and also WACRAN at this time. And we hope to expand it also to UbuntuNet Alliance and other regional networks. And these are I won't mention all these really objectives of the Katowice Declaration, but just to tell that this is all about data, actually, about rapid, fluid exchange of data, information, but also about human capacity. As my predecessors already talked a lot about the data aspect, the technical aspect, I will just maybe focus on the capacity development aspect of this whole scheme. We really, it is important to strengthen the capacity development and knowledge management. This is, in this, I think the research and education networks are really working together and are wishing to articulate in that sense. So basically, very shortly, this is part of the strategy pillars of our work in the framework of that of the Katowice Declaration, and it is to advocate the open access knowledge in innovation, science and technology, and building international, regional and local engagement for capacity development, and promote the development of specific projects in that sense. Dissemination of new knowledge, the creation of support to learning communities, and the articulation for the design of innovation, science and technology curricula in particular. So just mentioning in the case of Red Clara, we are trying to promote in the region the development of capacity knowledge management of thematic areas, especially related to the use of data coming from the Copernicus program, and also from the GEO communities, a group on Earth observation. So I think I can just finish at this stage, but I think it was really important to have this situational, let's say, focus about recent and reminding about the role of research and education networks in that context. And so I'm really thanking you for your last attention before the coffee break. And
I'd like to thank you very much.
I just slipped. I'm sorry. I didn't intend to have any reference to football, but anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And no offense to my Argentinian friends, of course. Thank you very much.
Thank you again. At the end of this session, I'm sorry we have room for questions, but you can ask our speakers during the dinner or the break. Finally, I'd like to thank our distinguished speakers and thank you for attending this session. Thank you.